What's up? I'm Jacob Litzo, your Elixir mentor. In the next few videos, we're going to be building our gist view. This is going to be the live view that we route to after creating the new gist or selecting a gist from the all gist list or the search filter. If we pull up our designs, we see that we have some nice syntax highlighting. We show the username with the file name after it, how long ago it was created, and the description of the gist, along with a save button that will basically bookmark the snippet to your saved list. And if you go over here, we'll have your gists list and then your saved gists list. So it would show up in saved if you ended up bookmarking it. And then in the header of the little code snippet or the gist, you'll see we have our delete, edit, and copy button. And then obviously, if you're not the creator of this gist, only the copy button will show. In this video, we are going to lay out the groundwork for this live view. We are going to create the live view file with its corresponding Heeks file. Then we are going to set up a route to the live view. Once that is done, I'm going to show you how we can navigate to the new live view after a gist is successfully created and pass our gist ID as a parameter to our mount callback. Let's get started. Let's open up our project. Let's start by expanding the lib directory, the Elixir gist web, and then our live directory. And we're going to create our new live view. So right click and say new file. And we'll call this gist_live.ex. And we need to just create the module. So def module and then Elixir gist web.gistlive. And to make this a live view, we have to say use, and then we need Elixir gist web, comma, and then we need a atom of live_view here. And then we need our mount callback function. So that is def mount. And if you remember, that takes a parameters attribute, a session, which we won't be using, and then our socket as well. And then do end, and then let's just return our OK atom and our socket for now. That is all we need for the skeleton of our live view. And now let's go ahead and create our empty Heeks file that render will call. So render will automatically call our Heeks file as long as we name it the same thing with the .html.heeks like we've done in the past. So we're going to create a new file and it will be called gist_live and then .html.heeks. And this one we can just leave blank for now. So just save that. And let's jump over to our router. And we want to add a new live route. To declare a new live route, we're going to just go under our create and we just do live. And then in double quotations, we're going to do a / and we'll call this route gist. So after we create a gist, it's going to route to our gist route. And then we just need to call our live view, which is called gist live. All right. And then save that. Let's make sure we didn't automatically create an alias, which we did. So I'm going to remove that at the top. Now we are good to go here. Now we can play around with routing to our new gist live view. And if we open up our create gistlive.ex file, we can go to our handle event create. We want to, after we successfully create a gist, we want to route to our new live view. To do that, Phoenix makes it pretty easy for us. We're going to, for now, we're just going to go underneath our no reply and we're going to create a new response. It's going to also respond with a no reply atom. And then we're going to want to use a function called push_navigate. And this takes a socket and then the path that we want to navigate to. We're going to pass in our socket and then we're going to do a to. So this is a key value pair here. And we can just put in our live view route, which is just /gist. So we still want to reset our form the same way where we're passing in the empty gist struct and then We're basically just resetting our form that is in our socket, so in our assigns map, to be empty. So for whatever reason, we don't have any issues with our form clearing. But instead of doing it inside of the old response, we're just going to say socket equals, and then we're going to just do assign, pass in our socket, and then form, and then do the same thing, to_form, and pass in that change set. And then we can delete this old response. And when we return this socket, it will now be the new updated socket with the new state. All right. To point out some things, we don't want to just type in our path like this because the compiler doesn't check anything. So if we change our live route or anything, we won't know. So this could just be a broken piece of code. But what's really cool, if we do the P sigil, so tilde, if we do a tilde P in front of it, it automatically verifies that there's a matching route in the router, which is really cool. So if I like delete the T there, we're going to get a compiler warning. See right here, no route in our router. So that's really cool. And then when it's correct, that warning goes away. So you always want to use the P sigil. And that is just a verified route, which is pretty cool. All right, so now that that's done, let's go ahead and first make sure our Postgres Docker container is running. Sorry, I gotta stop that project. And let's start up our my Postgres container. Come on, shut it down. There we go. Okay, so my database is now up and running. And then if we go ahead and open up our terminal, command space terminal, and then cd into our project, mine's documents, develop, Elixir mentor, and then Elixir gist, and then mix phx.server, and we're up and running. Now we can go ahead and go to our local host 4000, and we got to log in. This looks really big for some reason. All right, so my user is Jacob at Elixir mentor, and Elixir mentor for the password. And ignore the ugliness. We're going to fix that in a later video. So now we have this view, and we want to, so we create a new, so just test.ex, and we put code here for now. Now, when we hit create, it should route to our blank live view that we just created. Enjoying the video? Show some love with a like and hit subscribe to stay updated. To support me and keep the content free, click join for memberships or pick up a course at elixirmentor.com and get free access to my private community. Let's jump back in. Uh-oh. Let's see what happened here. Make sure. Oh, maybe I have a typo on or I didn't save just live. Oh, I have a typo. So it was looking for the render callback. So you can actually call render within our LiveView.ex file, but also if you follow the naming conventions and actually had like .hex instead of .hex, whatever we have there, it automatically goes there. So fix that typo, hit save, and there we go. We routed to our empty hex template. So our routing is working. I think that's really cool. So now what we want to do is we want to add a query parameter. We want to pass in our newly created gist ID to mount so we can grab that gist, and then, well, eventually, like in the next video, we're going to be using highlight.js to add syntax highlighting to it. So we need to get the newly created gist. So how can we pass our gist ID in our path? So let's go ahead and do that. If we go back to our create gist live view, where we put our path in here, we can do, like, I'm sure you've seen parameters pass like this before. You can do question mark followed by the param name ID equals, and then we can do the hashtag opening and closing curly braces to pass in our gist that was created. So up here, let's get rid of that underscore in front of gist because we're now grabbing gist. and we can do something like gist.id here and pass in our gist ID. Now what's cool, because it's a verified route, we can actually use a map or keyword list to pass our parameters instead of individually passing them like this. We can actually do, so let's just delete ID equals. You're going to leave the question mark, and then inside where we have the gist.id, we can actually create a list. So like this, whoops, extra bracket. And then inside this list, you can put whatever keys and values you want to pass. We want to pass in ID, and then we want to do gist.id. So we can do this. So this would allow us to pass more parameters easier than the stacking, the URL path parameters that we just had. And what's really cool, since we're using ecto structs here, since ID is a known thing, if I delete .id, it will automatically grab the ID from the gist object because it is going to match it to the key, because ID matches what's in the gist struct. And so that's pretty sweet, I think. So now we're passing our ID as a parameter in our key value list. Now what we want to do is go to, let's save this. We want to go back to our new LiveView that we created. So we have our mount function here, right? We want to now get the ID from our parameters. And so up here, we can actually pattern match. So we can do % and then create a map here. And we're going to look for the key ID, and then we're going to push that into a variable named ID. So that will get that. And what we can do now is we are going to want to, if we open up our Elixir gist directory and go to gists.ex context file, we're going to want to call this get gist with ID function. Okay. So we're going to have to alias in. So back to our gist live view, we're going to want to alias in that context file. So alias, and then Elixir gist dot gists. All right. And now we can fetch the gist from our database. So we can do gist equals, and then gists is our context. And then we want to say get gist, and then by ID, we can go ahead and do this. So that's really cool. So now we have our gist accessible to our live view. We just retrieved it. So we have the most up-to-date version. And now we just have to update our assigns map. And to do that, just like we did in the create gist, we just do assign, opening, closing parentheses, pass in our socket, and then we want to pass in the key that we want to add to our assigns map, which is going to be gist, and then the value of gist, which is going to be gist, just like that. And then we can save it. And now, since we have access to our assigns map inside of our Heeks template or our Heeks file, we can now see whatever code we enter, right? So let's go over to our new gist live Heeks file, and let's just create a div for now. We're not going to do anything fancy, but we're going to make the background white just so we can see the text, because by default it will be black. So we're just going to say background. Oh, what am I doing? Class equals inside of quotations background dash white. And then inside this div, we can just do less than % equals. And this is how you access variables within HTML. So we can just call our assigns, which since gist is just in our assigns, we can do gist dot, and then we can call our markup underscore text right there. So now if we save this and go back to our browser, it's probably no function. Oh, we're just going to back out, and we're going to create a new gist. It was looking for a gist ID. And since we changed it, we're now passing it in the path. So we're going to create a new gist now. So new gist .ex. And then let's go ahead and, oh, I don't know. Let's put some code in here. Put our mount function that we just did. All right. And now if we hit create gist, it is going to route to our new page. And up here in our URL path, you're going to see the new gist ID. And then you're also going to see it load on our HTML page. And look at that. It doesn't look pretty, but we fetched our gist and we're now putting it on in our view. So that's really cool. We successfully navigated to a new live view after creating a new gist. We also learned how to use verified routes and how to pass parameters to another live view, which is pretty powerful stuff. So as always, if you need help or want to check out the solutions, check out the GitHub link in the description. Join my Discord server, Elixir Mentor. If you have any questions or just want to hang out and chat, that link is in the description as well. If you want to learn how to build scalable, production-ready, full-stack and REST API solutions, hit that subscribe button now. I'm Jacob Litso, your Elixir Mentor. See you in the next video.